Welcome to another deep dive. This time, we're diving into a bit of a mystery that has the internet buzzing. The vanishing act of Sarah Beauty Corner.
Yeah.
1 minute, she's a DIY superstar with millions hanging on her every upload.
Right.
Then the next, nothing. Radio silence. What happened? That's what we're going to try to figure out.
Right.
We've got an excerpt from another podcast that did its own influencer investigation.
Okay.
And we're going to use that to see if we can crack this case wide open.
Let's see what we've got.
Yeah. So to jump right in.
Okay.
I think what's so interesting about this one is that Sarah Beauty Corner, whose real name, by the way, is Sarah Marie Lawler. She's actually Norwegian. She was a pioneer.
Yeah, she really was. She started her YouTube journey way back in 2013, I think focusing on beauty and makeup first. But then she did something really smart.
Oh, yeah.
She pivoted.
She did.
Yeah.
She tapped into that universal love for a good DIY.
Yes.
And became the DIY queen.
Oh, yeah.
And talk about a relatable niche, right? Just to be clear for our listeners, we're not talking about like complex home renovations.
Right. Yeah.
Sarah was all about those quick, colorful, fun, life hacks, things anyone could try at home.
Yeah, and she was one of the first to really nail those expectation versus reality videos.
Oh, those are so good.
Yeah. You know, you think you're going to create some Pinterest-worthy masterpiece, and then reality hits.
Oh, yeah.
It can be hilariously disastrous. It's a format that just resonates, and Sarah was like one of the early queens of it.
Totally. Okay, so we've got a savvy creator who knows her audience, but what was it that really set her apart? Because tons of people try their hands at DIY videos, but she built an empire.
Well, her videos had this like bright, engaging visual style that just drew you in.
They were fun.
Think vibrant colors, fast-paced editing, super lighthearted vibe.
Yeah.
It felt like you were hanging out with a friend who just happened to be incredibly creative.
And she was such a natural storyteller, too.
Oh, for sure.
She didn't just show you how to do something. She made the whole process entertaining.
Right. And don't forget that all-important family-friendly factor.
Well, that's a good point.
She wasn't just appealing to teens or young adults. Her content was something the whole family could enjoy.
Exactly.
Really broadened her reach, I think.
For sure. So by all accounts, Sarah Beauty Corner was a YouTube success story.
Absolutely.
She had the talent, the work ethic, and a brand that people genuinely loved. By 2019, she had over 10 million subscribers and billions of views.
It's crazy.
That's insane.
It's remarkable, and it makes her sudden disappearance all the more baffling.
Yeah.
You know, here's a creator at the top of her game, and then silence.
Yeah.
Her last video was uploaded on February 6th, 2020.
Wow.
Titled 10 Simple Life Hacks You Need to Know.
Talk about irony.
Oh, yeah.
It's like she dropped the mic and walked off the stage.
Totally.
No warning, no goodbye, just poof, gone. It left her fans completely bewildered.
Yeah.
Were there any signs leading up to this? Did anyone see it coming?
Well, that's where it gets interesting.
Okay.
Looking back, there were a few subtle hints that something was changing.
Okay.
Between 2018 and 2019, her upload schedule became a little less frequent.
Okay.
Not drastically, but enough that dedicated fans probably noticed.
Okay. So maybe a little bit of a slowdown.
Yeah.
But was that really unusual? I mean, YouTubers take breaks all the time, right?
Sure. Breaks are normal. But this was happening right around the time that the YouTube algorithm went through some pretty major shifts.
Oh, the algorithm.
Yeah.
So you're thinking Sarah's bite-sized DIY videos might not have fit that new model as well.
Exactly. Think about it. Her content was designed to be quick, engaging.
Right.
But YouTube was now rewarding these longer videos that kept people glued to their screens.
Right.
Now, we don't know for sure if this directly impacted Sarah's views or revenue.
Right.
But it's definitely a factor worth considering.
Yeah, for sure. It must have been so frustrating for creators like Sarah who found success with a certain style.
Oh, yeah.
Only to have the rules of the game change so drastically.
Right. And imagine the pressure.
Oh, yeah.
Do you keep doing what, you know, works, but maybe see your views decline?
Yeah.
Or do you try to adapt to this new algorithm and potentially alienate your existing audience?
It's a tough spot to be in.
It is. Really highlights how demanding the world of online content creation can be.
And let's not forget, by 2020, Sarah had been at this for almost 7 years.
7 years, constant content creation, the pressure to stay relevant, the ever-changing whims of the algorithm. It's exhausting.
It's a lot. So while the slowdown in uploads might not seem like a huge red flag on its own, when you factor in the algorithm changes and the length of her YouTube career, it starts to paint a more complex picture.
It does. And it leads us to the million-dollar question. Why did Sarah Beauty Corner vanish from the internet?
Why indeed?
And thankfully, our source material offers some intriguing theories.
Ooh, good.
And that's what we'll be digging into next.
Okay, let's do it. All right, so let's get into these theories. The first one I think is something that a lot of us can relate to, especially these days. Sarah simply wanted a normal life.
It's a familiar narrative, isn't it? The price of fame, especially online fame, can be that loss of privacy and just a constant feeling of being under a microscope.
Yeah, exactly. And for someone like Sarah, who started her YouTube journey when she was pretty young, I mean, still in her teens,
Right.
she basically grew up online with millions of people watching her every move. So maybe she just reached a point where she wanted to experience life.
Right.
Outside of that bubble.
Yeah.
To have experiences that weren't documented and then analyzed by millions of strangers.
It's certainly a valid possibility.
Yeah.
And, we're not just talking about comments on her videos.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about, fan pages, dedicated Reddit threads.
No, for sure.
Maybe even paparazzi if she was, recognized in public.
That kind of constant scrutiny can be really hard on anyone's mental health.
Makes you wonder if, for some creators, that level of fame eventually starts to feel less like a reward and more like a burden.
That's a great point. And it kind of leads nicely into our next theory.
Yeah.
Maybe Sarah just outgrew the content.
Yeah, that makes sense.
People change, their interests evolve.
Yeah.
Maybe Sarah in her mid-20s wasn't the same person who launched Sarah Beauty Corner as a teenager.
Totally. Yeah.
I mean, it happens to all of us, right? You go through different phases in your life, you discover new things you want to try, and sometimes that means leaving parts of your past behind.
And with Sarah, it's worth noting that she initially started with that beauty and makeup content.
Oh, that's right.
And then pivoted to DIY. So she had already shown that she's willing to adapt and change her content.
Exactly.
It's not a stretch at all to think that maybe she just wanted to reinvent herself again. And perhaps in a way that didn't involve being in the public eye.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so we've got the desire for a more normal life and the possibility of creative evolution.
Right.
What else could have played a role in Sarah's departure?
Well, theory number 3 delves into the personal realm. Major life changes.
Okay.
Maybe she started a new career, got married, had kids, or maybe there were some family issues that, we're not aware of.
Yeah.
Big life events like these often lead to a shift in priorities, and for Sarah, maybe that meant stepping away from YouTube.
It's true. I think we forget sometimes that YouTubers, even with their online personas, are real people.
Yeah.
With real lives going on offline.
Yeah.
And just like anyone else, they have to make choices about how they want to spend their time, their energy.
Exactly.
And maybe for Sarah, that meant prioritizing her personal life over her online career.
Yeah, and we often see this with celebrities, in the more traditional entertainment industry. They might take breaks from, acting or music to focus on family or pursue other interests. There's no reason why the same couldn't apply to online creators.
For sure. And then, of course, there's the theory that we've already touched on a bit. Burnout.
Oh, yeah.
You've talked about how demanding the online content creation world is.
It's intense.
Especially with that constant pressure from the algorithm.
Oh, yeah. Burnout is real.
Is it possible that Sarah just reached her breaking point?
Burnout is a very real phenomenon, especially in fields like content creation that require, constant creativity, public engagement, the pressure to produce new content all the time, maintain that engagement, stay relevant, deal with negativity. It can be overwhelming. And Sarah had been doing this for 7 years straight.
7 years of being on, creating, engaging, running her own mini media empire, basically.
It's a lot.
It takes a lot of energy and resilience.
It does. And for some people, there comes a point where they just need to step away to protect their mental health and well-being.
So we've got these 4 compelling theories, each shedding light on, a different facet of the influencer life.
Right.
But ultimately, we're left with the same question. Where did Sarah Beauty Corner go?
Yeah.
And maybe even more importantly, will she ever come back? It's kind of wild to think about, right? In the digital age, someone can build this huge online presence and then just vanish.
Like a ghost.
Without a trace. It's like she deleted her entire virtual footprint. Millions of fans are just left wondering what happened to their beloved DIY queen?
I think it really speaks to the kind of ephemeral nature of internet fame.
Oh, that's interesting.
You know, we're so used to having access to everything and everyone all the time. So when someone like Sarah Beauty Corner just disappears,
Right.
it leaves this void.
Yeah.
It's unsettling.
It is. And her disappearance, as much as it's a mystery, also kind of adds to her legacy
Right.
in a strange way.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, was this a conscious choice, to step away at the height of her popularity?
Right.
Or was there something else going on behind the scenes?
Yeah, I think that's part of what keeps people fascinated by this.
Yeah.
Even years later,
For sure.
the lack of a definitive answer just allows for all this speculation,
Right.
interpretation. It's almost like a cautionary tale
Yeah.
about the pitfalls of internet fame.
So even though we may never know the why behind Sarah Beauty Corner's disappearance, can we at least agree that she left her mark
Oh, yeah.
on the world of YouTube?
Absolutely.
I mean, she was a pioneer in the DIY and challenge video space.
For sure.
Her influence is still felt today.
Absolutely. Her videos were creative. They were engaging, undeniably influential.
Yeah.
She inspired so many other creators.
Oh, yeah.
And her signature style, the bright colors, fast-paced editing, the relatable humor, it's all still very much present in the DIY content we see today.
Oh, totally. You can definitely see echoes of Sarah Beauty Corner
Hey.
in the work of some of today's biggest DIY YouTubers. And I think that speaks to the power of originality, authenticity.
Yeah.
When you create content that truly resonates,
Yeah.
it has a way of transcending trends and leaving a lasting impact.
And that's something I think we can all learn from,
Yeah.
Whether we're aspiring YouTubers or just navigating our own digital lives.
Right.
Find your voice. Create something you're passionate about. Connect with people authentically. Those are the things that really matter.
Well said. Well, I want to thank you for joining me on this deep dive into the curious case of Sarah Beauty Corner.
It's been a pleasure.
We may not have found all the answers, but hopefully this has given you some food for thought
Yeah,
about the complexities of internet fame
for sure.
and the importance of prioritizing what truly matters.
Absolutely. It takes courage to prioritize well-being
Yeah.
in a world that often values visibility and productivity over everything else.
So true. Well, thanks again for joining us. And who knows, maybe one day Sarah Beauty Corner will return,
It could happen.
offer her own explanation for her sudden departure.
We can only hope.
But until then, the mystery remains.
Thanks for listening.